Welcome into another episode of the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast on Sports Illustrated. Hope everybody had a good holiday break. We're going to get right back into things as these Rams get ready for a huge battle. Divisional matchup, final two games of the year for the Rams are going to be at home, and they're going to be against two of the Birds. You got the Cardinals, one, and then you have the Seahawks to finish off the year. But this is more than a must-win game here for the Rams. When you look at it, I mean, this puts you in a good spot to win the division if the Rams get it done against the Cardinals. We'll break down this game, talk about Arizona a little bit, but with the Seahawks winning yesterday, definitely, I'll go out on a limb. The worst game of football we saw all year long. I thought we saw that in the Rams-Niners game when the final score was 12-6. Subtract more points off that total, 6-3. The Seattle Seahawks win on the road in Chicago. Looking on paper, I thought Seattle would win the game. Coming off two losses in a row, got to bounce back. Still, I never saw a 6-3 game coming. Geno did not look great. The passing offense looked very, very out of sync. Zach Charbonnet was okay. Kenneth Walker was out. We'll see if that plays a role into this Week 18 game against the Rams. But it was not good football from either side, but specifically if you're a Rams fan, you're looking at Seattle and just seeing those glaring issues offensively. Their defense played well, but that's also because, the Chicago Bears offensive line is a revolving door, and they just went pressure after pressure after sack. You get the picture. Now, so right now you look at it, the Seahawks, they're 9-7. Rams are 9-6. Kind of writing down, looking at a few scenarios here. If the Rams lose to the Cards, both teams will be 9-7 going into Week 18. And the cool thing as well is both teams will have a 3-2 record in the division. Because currently, right now, the Seahawks are 3-2 with one game in the division left to play, and the Rams are 3-1, and they have two left, starting with this Saturday night against Arizona. So then, if the Cards do beat the Rams this weekend, Seattle and LA will play for the division because one team will be 10-7, the other team will be 9-8, and that should easily be able to tell you, especially with a team being 4-2 in the division compared to 3-3. Winner of Week 18. If the Rams lose against the Cardinals, Week 18 will be for all the marbles. Another situation is if the Rams beat the Cardinals. Too many names, too many scenarios. Rams will be 10-6 with a 4-1 record in the division. And Seattle, as we mentioned, still 9-7, 3-2. But if Seattle were to beat LA in the last game of the season, both teams would be 10-7, and both teams would have a 4-2 record in the division. Another tiebreaker. Then you got to look at common opponent, and then you got to go even deeper to strength of schedule. Because when you look at common opponent, when I broke it down earlier before we went on, it's dead even. Dead even. Both teams beat the Patriots. Both teams lost to the Lions. Huge win for the Rams picking it up over Buffalo. Seahawks lost to Buffalo. Miami. The Seahawks beat Miami, but the Rams lost to them. So there's multiple of those where it's the +1, -1, and it all evens out. So you got to go even farther down into strength of schedule. And there's some teams that need to help out the Rams if they want to clinch this weekend. But it's still up for grabs right now for LA or for the Seahawks as well. Cards, no chance. They were eliminated last week. Niners are way gone. So it's a two-team race currently in the NFC West. And we're prepped up for some good theater in these final couple games of the year because either scenario, right now Seattle already took care of business. They're 9-7. It's going to depend on what LA does. But if the Rams get it done, they're able to beat the Cardinals, they're going to have a pretty good shot of clinching with a few wins from other teams. Take a look here and break down just the Arizona Cardinals as a team. Talk about some of their stats, kind of how they've been the last couple of weeks. And after getting off to a 6-4 start to the season, heading into a Week 11 bye, they won 4 in a row. They knocked off the Chargers, they beat the Jets, they beat the Dolphins. A lot of good wins in there for Arizona. And then coming out of the bye week, they lose 3 in a row. Much tougher games. They play Seattle twice and Minnesota, lose all 3 of those. And then you go and beat the New England Patriots. That was 2 weeks ago, Week 15. And then you lose a stinker in overtime. It wasn't really a stinker of a game. It was a great game. But for theirs, 7-7, you're trying to make a playoff push, and you fall to the Carolina Panthers, a team that's really been struggling but playing better of late. You lose in overtime there. that just kind of putted your season out. And now you kind of have to try to play spoiler in the final 2 games of the year. Cards, they'll have LA this weekend and then San Francisco in week 18. But kind of a collapse here to go lose 4 of your last 5 games after starting 6-4. Did not see that coming from Arizona. I'm not going to lie. When they were 6-4, I thought they were the top team to beat in the division because the Rams were still making their climb back, and I didn't think Seattle would get there either. But it seems like every team has really kind of puttered out a little bit, even Seattle, and we don't even need to talk about the Niners because they just had a season from hell. But the Rams are the only team that really stick out that were able to put something together in the back half of the year, and all the other teams kind of trailed off, lost a bunch of games, and Arizona falls under that category. When you look at them as a team, they got a pretty solid offense, specifically in the run game. They have one of the best rushers in the NFL. Not a top guy in yards per game, but with over 1,000 yards this year, James Conner, 232 carries. They're giving him the rock 20 times a game, even more. Just over 1,000 yards, 6 huge plays. He has as long as 53. Big plays are of 35 or more, and then 8 touchdowns as well for Conner on the year. Second highest rusher is Kyler Murray with 518, the quarterback of this Cardinal team. And Kyler, he hasn't had the best year throwing the ball. 16 touchdowns, 9 picks. He's been sacked 26 times, which isn't all that bad at this point in the season. And he's also thrown for over 3,200 yards. So, we mentioned his running stats. He's got over 500 with 5 rushing touchdowns. He's already thrown for over 3,000 yards, but that turnover to touchdown ratio there, not the best, and that's kind of where some of the problems have kind of lied for this. And so the Cardinals are ranked 5th in all of the NFL, churning about $145 on the ground per game. For the pass game, they're very middle of the pack, not extremely impressive, 207 through the air. They have options, though. When you look at their passing attack, they do have, obviously, Kyler Murray as your quarterback, who's semi-accurate. I think he's a serviceable quarterback in the NFL. Trey McBride, it's crazy. These stats are wild. Trey McBride leads the team in 14 games, 92 catches. The next closest is Marvin Harrison with 51. But McBride, 92 catches, 958 yards. There's a good chance he gets 1,000 this weekend as a tight end. 0 touchdowns. I cannot believe a guy has almost 1,000 yards receiving and has not seen the end zone once this year. That is mind-boggling to me. And then you look at Marvin Harrison Jr., 51 receptions. That's 40 less than what McBride's got in the same amount of time for 726 yards and 7 touchdowns. So, Harrison's that red zone target. Rams are going to scheme for it. Just when you look at the stats, you look at the data here, you can pick that out and see, hey, might want to guard Marvin Harrison in that red zone. And a guy in Michael Wilson who's got 4 receiving touchdowns as well. 526 yards on the year. He's got some good hands. A younger wide receiver in his second year in the NFL. So you got some young guys between Harrison, Wilson, Trey McBride, as we mentioned. I still can't believe that stat's real. 92 catches and none of them in the end zone. Defensively for the Cards, they do a pretty good job sacking the quarterback. 39 total sacks this year. Pretty solid total, I would say. And that's ranking inside the top 10, top 15 in the NFL. And they got a bunch of different guys to do it. You got a guy in Dante Stills at the defensive tackle position. Zaven Collins, he's got 4 on the year as well with 6 tackles for loss. That's tied for the team lead. And then LJ Collier, he's chipped in with 3.5. And a bunch of other guys, 4 other players have 3 sacks apiece. So it's spread out pretty evenly across that defensive line. Couple linebackers up in there as well. So the only defensive end I'm looking on here and seeing is LJ Collier. Everybody else is either a tackle or a linebacker. So you're going to see a lot of blitz from the box from this Cardinal team if you're the Rams. And this kind of takes me into my next point because it's going to be all about LA blocking these rushers. And there's a couple guys, or one guy, sorry, that the Rams need back, and kind of a freak injury, not really, but just something that didn't happen in an NFL game. Looking at this injury report releasing for Week 17 here for the Rams, you had Rob Havenstein, that veteran captain offensive tackle. He hurt his shoulder in practice back on Tuesday, and I think it was Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday or Wednesday. He was a limited participant in practice. There's nothing filled out for him on Tuesday, so it might have been Wednesday. But anyways, he gets put on that list at the very end of the week. He's currently questionable to play. It's going to be very, very telling if Rob's in, because he affects the sack numbers for Matthew Stafford. It would be Joe Noteboom to start in the place of Havenstein. We will see what happens, but they need to get him back to be able to play. And then also Alaric Jackson is on that injury report, but he's been specified as just rest. He should be good to go. No status. I think he's going to play. And Havenstein as well. They need him back to help out against a strong Cardinals pass rush. That's going to do it for us here on the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast from the Sports Illustrated Network. My name is Tom Cavanaugh. Follow me at TCAV30 on Twitter/X, and also follow our insider pages at Rams Insider on SI, both on Twitter/X and on Facebook. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. We will see you again soon talking about this Rams and Cardinals divisional matchup at SoFi Stadium.